let's get into immigration, like we just said. Illegal immigration annoys the heck out of me, and I'm sure it annoys the heck out of a lot of other people too. I mean, however you want to say it, coming here illegally is illegal. We want people to come here and enjoy the same freedoms we have. I mean, I'll say that every day. The federal government in Texas and Arizona should be ashamed of themselves for not protecting the border. So we're going to talk about Texas and Arizona because they're the primary states that have the tons and tons of illegals coming through. But on the federal level, President Biden has the oath to the Constitution to uphold that. And I think he's failed. He doesn't, for some reason, he doesn't want to protect the border. And I don't know what it is. I mean, you have any clue, Jack?
I know he doesn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that, though. It's almost like they're on purpose trying to change every process that was in the books earlier.
Yeah, but they got to go through the Congress. Congress has passed numerous immigration laws.
Well, Congress doesn't want to do their work. And if they wanted to do their work through the Constitution, the law of the land, maybe they could take that fence down and disarm the army that's around there.
Right.
Because, don't forget, everybody out there in TV land, what direction that army's facing.
Yeah.
It's not facing the Mexican border. It's not facing the Canadian border. It's facing out in the public of Washington, D.C.
And I don't get that. Like we said earlier, we don't get it. But like I said, Congress has passed numerous immigration laws for migrants to come to this law legally, and there's specific places. And they used to come through Ellis Island. Now they don't come that way anymore. They just do it across the border. I mean, we don't know what these people have. I mean, what kind of diseases they have, and what kind of cartels are coming through.
And we're not saying diseases like they belong on Leper's Island. We're talking about
COVID,
hepatitis C,
TB.
I mean, Dennis was in the prisons. He had to take a hepatitis shot.
Oh, yeah. I remember at the time in the early 90s, we had so many people in there with TB. I mean, you didn't even want to go to work.
Yeah, I was on the streets, so I was last in line to get the hepatitis 2 parts shot because I still had them in the cell, the arrest processing and stuff. But you were there,
Oh yeah.
And now they're bringing them right back into this country again. Like you said, you don't know what these people are carrying.
We don't know what these people are capable of.
No.
I mean, look at all the drugs that they try to smuggle in too. It's outrageous.
Yeah, well, those drugs. I mean, we finally started getting a handle. Not really, but I mean, it wasn't as deadly as it was with those drugs coming across the border. But here it is again. I wonder if any of our politicians actually know what the laws of immigration are after 30 years of a game of hot potato. Again, if they would just do their job, pass their laws, and look at the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, state, federal government shall protect each state against invasion and against domestic violence.
Let the CB, the Border Patrol, let them do their jobs. Let the immigration officials do their job.
Yeah, just because you don't want to do your job in Congress don't mean anybody else doesn't.
Yep. Remember when I talked about the blame game?
Yeah.
Everybody blames everybody else but their own party. It's never their responsibility.
Now, it's almost getting to the point that their own staff members.
Yeah. Last week, Republican Senator Cassidy, I think he's from Louisiana, blamed Biden for the immigration mess. And it is his mess since he's the commander-in-chief. And while Democratic Senator Murphy, he's from Connecticut, he said it was Trump's fault. And then Nancy Pelosi chimed in and said they inherited a broken system.
Well, she broke it because it's her job to make the laws for it. And she's the Speaker of the House.
Right.
I mean, please give us feedback on this. Please give us feedback. To me and Dennis, this seems like a ground ball. You are a representative for the United States in whatever state you're from, and it says distinctly, you're in charge of making laws. But like we said in the first podcast, I got a little jammed up. We're sorry for that. They don't make bills anymore in Congress because they have bureaucracies do it.
Right. You know, you're right. The system's only broken because of our congressional leaders. I mean, they're supposed to make the laws. You know, the president either signs them or vetoes them. And if they want to override it, they get 2/3 of a vote through both houses. And they can override any veto. If they really cared what we thought, they would fix the system. They don't care about us. Fix the immigration problem. Worry about the citizens of the United States instead of citizens of other countries. We should be number one priority. Yes, it's great to help other countries. But you know what? We have homeless veterans. Homeless veterans, folks, all across this country. We have, look at San Francisco, people sleeping in tents. We talked about the quality of life issues. It is crazy. Do your job and fix the system.
That's the crazy part. The inability for these people, I think they lost focus of what they're supposed to be doing up there. Because they do not know how to lead this country. They don't fundamentally know how to lead this country, and they're blaming everybody else, but none of us have any power to do this.
Right.
It's in that house that they have fenced up, army surrounding it, armed weapons. For what? It's like an empty house. There's nobody in there doing anything.
And I don't see it getting any better. But Article 1, Section 8 of our Constitution establishes a uniform rule of naturalization. So it got me thinking, and I read through the Texas Constitution to see if I could find anything about immigration. And of course, didn't find anything there. But I did find Article 4, Section 7, the governor as Commander-in-Chief of Military Forces. It states, "He shall be the Commander-in-Chief of Military Forces of the state. He shall have the power to call forth the militia and execute the laws of the state, to suppress insurrections, and to repel invasions." I think this is an invasion of people. I mean, the federal government is responsible for setting and enforcing most immigration laws. However, states have the power to establish their own supplemental policies, allowing them to determine screening requirements. You know, Texas is an independent state that's part of the union. They're independent. They're sovereign. They make their own laws. They govern their own people. They're just part of a bigger union. When the federal government fails to do their constitutional duties, they have the right to form their own laws and policies to protect their citizens. What I can tell you right now, Texas and Arizona has failed its people in that protection. I mean, look at past governors of certain states when Trump was president. They refused to follow laws that were created then. Why is it okay to not follow laws then, but follow laws now, or follow laws now? Not, it's crazy.
Well, the crazy part about it is they don't know what the laws are, that they're not following what they are following. And they don't, when you take an oath in this country, it doesn't mean what it used to mean. You know, they think it's a ceremony to get through, so that when you get through the ceremony, now you're kidding the candy store, you go do what you want. No, you took an oath. Those words mean something. So now you took the oath, and now you're supposed to stand there and take care of the business at hand that you swore an oath to.
You took an oath when you became a police officer.
Yeah.
I did. I taken 3 oaths. Military, corrections, and police. I mean, why do we have to follow our oath, but they can do whatever they want?
And again, it's both parties. Neither party's doing anything. And, I mean, the outrage is in Texas. I get it. I understand.
And Arizona, too.
But Arizona, I've only heard 2 national comments on Arizona. So Arizona is so far behind the curve on it that they're not even talking about it. It's like Arizona is in the middle of the country, like Ohio.
Right. You know, when it comes to the state militia, each governor has the authority to use its force. You know, they can put those, the governor can put them on the border to stop illegal immigrants from coming to this country. But you know what? Republicans and Democrats don't want to protect us. They want us divided. I mean, you got to see it. I mean, I'm an average guy, and I see it. I'm not a constitutional scholar. And I've been saying this for a long time. They don't care. The Me Too movement is only good when it affects someone else and not their party.
You know, a lot of people saying that they're dividing this country economically, but they're not. I spent 6.5 months in the New York City Police Academy, and I had to take a class called Social Science. And it was 6.5 months of do not stereotype the people that you're protecting.
That's right.
And that's all these politicians do is they stereotype everybody. Whites, blacks, Hispanic, Asian, poor, rich.
They put us in groups.
Children, adults. And what you do then is what every dictator, socialist, communist country do, and that is divide and conquer.
Yeah, so from what I can see, there's nothing in the Constitution, or even a Texas Constitution, or I can most likely say the Arizona one, that they can't build a border wall to protect its citizens. We can't rely on the federal government for everything, especially when they want open borders. I mean, Trump got it under control for the most part. Biden, I foresee like at least 4 million illegal immigrants in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this COVID pandemic, has cost over 500,000 lives. I mean, it's going to get worse if we let these migrants come into this country. You know, if the Democrats, President Biden wants illegal immigrants to the country, I don't know why. I don't know why he wants them here. You know, laws are passed for a reason, to stop an unlawful act from occurring. Letting immigrants into this country is breaking the law. These politicians should be charged for not fulfilling their constitutional duties and their oath.
Yeah, well, these immigration problems that we're talking about affecting Arizona also. And like I said, I've only seen 2 reports. One of them is about a rancher who's fighting for our country through his property. I don't know if their local officials are helping them or not. On the national level, it doesn't seem like anybody's representing them because I don't see them on any kind of newscast. I don't understand what happened to Arizona. I'm sure New Mexico too.
Right. You know, we need people to stand up and say enough is enough. I mean, when is it going to happen?
Well, like you said, Dennis, you know, Arizona and Texas, they need to email out our webpage and let us know what's going on there so we can report back on this little podcast that we have. It's not very big. It's not reaching a lot of people yet. Hopefully
we'll get there.
The time will come.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But
if people don't stand up and stop this, we're going to be losing our country.
Well, it's like my brother Mike's point. The laws are put there to take the emotions out for their leaders. They're not supposed to reason why there's a law. You know, the law is there to take the emotion out of it for the leaders. And, in other words, the laws are there to stop them from just feeling whether they're right or wrong. If breaking the law alone, if you break the law, it doesn't matter what we feel. It doesn't matter whether you think it's right or wrong. The law states that we have to act, stop ruling with emotions, and that's what's making our country divided right now. People aren't following the laws of the land, in particular our leaders.
Right. Well, imagine if when you were a police officer, one of your relatives ended up committing murder, and you just looked the other way because he was your relative.
Yeah.
Where would you stand?
I'd be in a hoosegow with them. You'd be
right.
bringing me more macaroni for dinner.
You're absolutely right. But like Jack said, we need to hear from Texas and Arizona. There's a Texas senator or assemblyman that has sponsored legislation for Texas to impose another tax. But this one I think is good, is to build a border wall. And I forgot the guy's name. I'll get more information on that for our next podcast. But everyone in Texas should call their state legislators and tell them to vote yes. You got someone who says that wall can be built. You know what? This is for your protection, specifically your protection in Texas. I mean, it'll affect us too, but it affects you personally too. So reach out to us. We're on GoDaddy sites at USCG National 2021. All right.
Perfect.